roll, V Shamin roll, FIE Junkanoo Rush. Feel it in belly. This is V Shamin roll again, along with my co-host, Mr. Kevin Paparazzi, and along with my producer, Mr. Roll. Good evening, everyone. Tonight is the night of the King, and Papa Boy, my head is bopping when I hear that Paparazzi song. That's one of my favorite songs from the Valley Boys. Paparazzi. I just like that beat.
Hey, that's the best song in all of Junkanoo, period. I did that a lot, period.
That name after you. But folks, tonight is all about the kings and queens of Junkanoo. We have quite a few here tonight. We have some persons missing who couldn't make it to the show, and if they make it on, they will join us a little on. But first of all, we got to cover some house stuff, Papa. Any news tonight? I know I got a call today saying that Percy Paul is in the hospital, so we have to keep him in our prayers tonight. Can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
Yes.
And any other news, Papa? Who else we got to talk about?
I have no news. That was news to me with Percy Paul. I wish him a speedy recovery and to get well soon. No news. Only news is with the pictures with Maki post with empty Bay Street. Ain't that happening? No news from this side.
Right. Well, Maki saying we 50 to 52 days to empty Bay Street. So we're gonna see how that go. But folks, tonight again, we are here with the kings and queens of Junkanoo. We're gonna ask them to introduce themselves and the particular year they won. Actually, I said first pressure, but let's start with the very first queen of Junkanoo. Introduce yourself first, please, and the year that you won. Go ahead, Shishi.
Hello, my name is Shakara. I'm Shakara Bristol, and I won in 2015. I was a part of Genesis Junkanoo organization, and we were in Class B at that particular time.
All righty. Our next queen for the night. Go ahead.
Good night. I am Desiree Mason Price, and I am a One Family warrior. I am the 2017 Summer Festival Queen, and they didn't have any after that, so I guess I'm still the reigning queen.
But listen here, yeah, listen here. You what's your AKA? Don't try that one. But,
AKA pressure.
Pressure Price. Okay, so you see pressure trying to run from a name, Papa. She's put low pressure on people when she come up with them stupid costumes. So who we have next? We're going to go now to the kings. Let's start with the king.
Good night. My name is Justin Knowles. I won 2017 along with Pressure. Like she said, I was the last one. So therefore, I'm still the reigning.
Okay, next.
My name is Otavio, better known as Tavio. I won in 2016.
All right. And finally, we have.
My name is John Williams, aka King John. I was the first. I won in 2014, and it was actually on Bay Street.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because we changed. We forget the festivals used to be held on Bay Street, and then they were later moved to Awaki. Yeah. Johnny man, listen, that first costume you went with, that was the one with the 3-man Barney.
No, man, that was
Which one that was?
I won with Sunshine on My Body.
Okay. But boy, that costume which you had with the 3 people dancing, I can't forget that. That was different. It was original. And you had one piece of dance on that, man. I was like, boy.
Yeah, that was 2012.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we have everybody introduce themselves, let's talk some Junkanoo folks. let's talk about what it is and what it takes to be kings and queens of Junkanoo. We know it's a lot of pressure put on you and your individual selves. I know a lot of you have competition with yourselves. So let's talk about that.
Most definitely. There's always competition with yourself, especially with this group of people here. We take Junkanoo fairly serious, but I think each one of us have more competition with ourselves than we have with others, and it's showcased in our costumes, in our performance, in our delivery, and everything. And each one of these guys can tell you that everybody respects one another for their talents and what they bring to the table. A lot of people like to try to put us against each other, but that's never the case. We're all friends, and at the end of the day, January 2nd, life continues.
Yeah, like we normally say, it's bigger than big.
Yeah, bigger than Main Street.
Still friends, and we feed off of what you feel for one another when you're friends and when you're enemies, because then you achieve so much more in your goals and even in your life. It becomes more than just going today. It becomes, basic friends for life in all situations of life, marriages, and different things happen in your life. You become social friends. So, because I know sometimes when I see Johnny, I know Tavio ain't far. So I know so I see them the other day to the funeral. I don't know which one was the sharpest. I had to hurry up around the side because I didn't know who I was getting. I was getting a sharp razor cut from one of them in them suit.
Well, that's my stylist, so I gotta give it to him.
I going to say it was me who was the sharpest one.
But listen, let's talk about your costumes. How do you guys come up with some of the concepts of your costumes?
Hair pressures come up with a costume.
Let's go Destra Price.
Okay, so pretty much it goes down to what the theme possibly would be. And based on the summer festival, it's usually more geared towards a Bahamian theme. That year, I wanted to depict Adastra Gardens. And therefore, me and the king at the time, who represented one family, we came as male and female peacocks. And hence that was the inspiration, and hence the color pattern, how I wanted it to be designed. I wanted it with a peacock back to look like an actual peacock. And hence I mean, a peacock don't really be in a cage, but one family built a cage for me and I came out of the cage and that was it.
That's true. Who was the king at that time for one family? I mean, who was the representative for the king at that time?
Oh, Lord.
Tario.
Tario. Yeah, Tario. Yeah, correct.
Interesting. But pressure, man. Listen, I don't know who your makeup artist is, but dangerous, like they say. Them
so that's Talia Wilson from Eye Candy Makeup Studio. She has been doing my makeup for forever. One of my very good friends.
Does.
Thank you.
My father and my grandmother is brothers and sisters.
Oh wow, small world.
On my dad's side, yeah.
Okay.
But I've been watching your makeup and it just amazes me. You tend to transform yourself totally from head to toe and go fully into your whatever costume you make. At least all of you here, the kings and queen, you seem to go into full theatrical mode when you hit Bay Street. As we all know, I always say Junkanoo is theatrics from beginning to end. It tells a story. And so most of the times I see you in you guys in your costume, it depicts exactly what it is. And I know one year, Justin scared the living daylights out of me with that clown face he had on. Justin, boy, that clown was scary, boy. And I had to look good to see that was you. But big up my girl, Selena, who does your face makeup. But I had to look good.
She's helped me right every morning. Every morning she's helped me right. I went that morning too with the clown face.
Okay. Selena, big up to Selena, because Selena used to be a judge. She trained under me several years ago. And then she got into the makeup end of it. But you know, she really just man, she just get you into character. And she's telling me, don't come last minute when you want your face done, woman. You know, I have people coming to me 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I think that Davia is one of her customers also.
Yeah, Stevia.
Davia, sorry. Just have a totally different look. But let's talk with that. That devil you had on, boy. Boy. Oh. I don't know. I say you can lick somebody that morning. I say, boy, but he better. Let me don't go too close to him because you was right in character.
You mean New Year's going?
What's the name of that costume?
That's Ghost Rider.
Oh, Ghost Rider. Yeah, I had to run from you that morning. So most of you, I noticed most of you, you place your own costumes, or how is it done?
I contract my costume.
I do everything. I do everything to me except bill it.
Mm-hmm. I usually contract because it's usually it depends. Sometimes you get your costumes too late, and for me, December is a busy month with work, so I don't have time to be pasting. So I prefer to just contract it out to somebody, and I would decorate it myself.
I think Judy did most of your costumes, Judy Delaveau.
Yeah. Anytime I'm wearing cloth, Judy would always sew my cloth pieces. Definitely.
You high tech.
You know, and she say she's contract out of costume.
I know what I can get when I go to Judy. Judy can make sure I straight, and she can make sure I ain't ripping and ain't nothing tearing on Bay Street.
You bougie.
Yeah. But for the most part, it's usually a team effort. Usually you come out of a shack or you know persons that can help you. You may come up with the concept, but like some may say, you may need a builder, somebody to pace. If it's the morning that you have a cloth number, obviously you need a seamstress. But one word that sticks out is completion. And you can't come into character unless you complete your costume. So you can have a beautiful costume, but if you don't have the makeup, the weave, or the wig, whatever you want to call it, the hat, accessories to go with it, it's not going to come out how you want it to come out. So completion is key. And sometimes it's okay to take advice from other persons because they on the outside looking in. But once you pretty much have an idea in your head what you want, and that person is able to execute it, usually you tend to stick with that builder or that seamstress for years and years because you know they're going to give you what you want.
That's 100% correct. For someone like me, I've always worked with a team. It's never me by myself. I would never ever say that. So shout out to my team. But I work in reverse actually. So I go from the finish of the costume, what I know it needs to be, and then I kind of work backwards. So I'm not building and then looking to see, okay, well, I needed to do this or do that. So I know what the finished product has to be, and then I go in reverse. And then when you're dealing with persons of this level, like who was on this show tonight, you gotta be right. You know what I mean? 9 out of 10 times, if I go to get my face done someplace or somewhere, I bucking these people. Me and Pressure buck almost every year. I know where Tavio go. I know where Justin go. When Justin people fall up with me, they attack me. So I can't go back there with them no more. But we're on that level where we kind of end up the same places, you know, and that's what makes it really fun and really good.
Would you guys say that you are Junkanoo perfectionists to the point where you say that you have to make sure that your makeup is done and you have to make sure that the accessories? For the average Junkanooer, I don't think they go and take that extra step. And that may be the separation between being a champion and just being an ordinary participant. Because when you talk about accessories, I mean, I sit there thinking to myself, wow, I mean, I know the choreographed girls normally have the neck pieces and they have the wrist pieces and they have all these other pieces. Can anybody elaborate on that for us and let us know exactly what accessories mean to you?
Well,
So, oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, Brandon.
So, for example, with the peacock costume that we spoke about, if I had not probably added contacts in my eyes, if I didn't have, well, I wouldn't say a sequence bodysuit because you could have get it, but if the color combination was not that, you would have not thought that I was a peacock. You might have thought I was a regular bird. If the makeup wasn't put together just the right way, you probably wouldn't have thought that either. Batavio, let's just say, for example, with his Ghost Rider, had he not had that chain whip in his hand and the motorcycle handles, would his costume have been that effective? Even though it was a cloth number, it was very effective and people are still talking about it. So completion is key. Had he not put those other aspects into his costume, I don't think it would have been that effective. And it worked out perfectly for him.
And what you have to also realize, Papa, is that while we are Junkanooers, when we do a costume, we're not just Junkanooers. We're taking on a character. So whatever our costume is, it is a character. So you have to be a perfectionist because you're going to bring that character. You're not Tavio and Justin wearing a Junkanoo costume. You're a clown, or you're a Ghost Rider, or you're a peacock, or you're whatever. You know what I mean? So because it's a character, you have to transform your entire body, your costume, even your actions. So all of that comes into play. So we're not just people carrying costumes. We're actually what we're supposed to be in that character.
Let me ask you this. I mean, I've heard you mention it a little earlier. How does it feel though when you have a complete pasted costume and you have to compete against somebody who's in a complete cloth costume? Do you think there should be some kind of separation, or it doesn't really matter?
Yes.
I think it
Yes,
should be.
because
Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
you could go.
I think it should be a separation. I think it should be several separations with the dancers, to be honest. You know, I always said that I don't think a naked dancer, what we call naked, which is just nothing off the shoulder, or bare back and just a skirt and a hat maybe. I don't think they should be able to go against what we consider to be, or what's allowed to be, a free dancer, which is, you know, with a little backdrop or whatever. Because while the free dancer possibly may not be able to dance and perform as much as the person who's naked, the naked dancer can't necessarily look better than the person with more costume. So, you know, I always felt that those categories should be separated. As far as pacing and stuff, you know, I believe in evolution. So I believe the whole pacing thing, while it's traditional and still a part of the culture, I feel as though that needs to be re-examined, and we need more allowances for that, just based off weather and all that sort of thing.
I think based on the kind of costume you're trying to execute determines if you need the pace or if you need to wear cloth. An example, like when I was the crab, I couldn't wear a tight suit and pace it. So it needed to have a bodysuit, something that was airbrushed for flexibility and for movement.
That's a good point as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, but my question still is, do you think, or is it fair to compete somebody having cloth versus somebody having on cardboard and crepe paper?
No, because the person in cloth performs way better than a person in a full
They
costume.
technically have an advantage.
For I could speak for
Not necessarily.
us. We have innovative costumes. Our costumes don't normally be backdrop and two side pieces. Well, for me. And someone in cloth with a cloth number could perform way better than me, where most likely my legs covered in cardboard, or right down to my arms covered in cardboard.
Well, I think, Papa, your question really should be kind of what I said, which is the naked dancer and the whole versus a free dancer. Because if Justin comes in cloth pants and shirt, and it's just cloth, and I come in the same pants and shirt and pace, that don't necessarily mean we ain't gonna dance the same. I might have just a little bit more restriction, but we can kind of dance the same. So I think the problem isn't pacing versus cloth. I think it's cardboard versus cloth, if that's what you necessarily mean. because like Justin say, he could jump up and jump on the railing and flip and do the splits. But if I got on a cardboard skirt in the back drop, I only going up and down. You know. But fortunately for us, because we do, like you said, innovative costumes and stuff like that, we're in characters, so it don't matter if we're in cloth, cardboard, 9 feet high, 9 feet long, underwater in a tank, throwing a 9-foot chain, trying to hit people in the eye, spinning around, getting heat stroke in the box. It don't matter what it is. We can do it. We can perform.
Performance.
Here's one of the questions I wanted to ask. Have any of you ever won the free dancer on Bay Street?
I won twice.
Yes.
I think John went too.
Yeah. We have.
Yeah, because I don't think that particular area is judged fairly on Bay Street. It's I think and John, we talked about the percentage.
Not at all.
Tell you say not at all. Because that competition is tough.
It's very tough, and it's you know, we talked about this plenty of times. There's not enough judges to cover the amount of dancers. Then you have the laps, then you know, and then you have
and nobody. I mean, I've judged parades and side parades and many parades. It's very difficult to keep up with all of the free dances and the naked dances. When they blow past you, they gone. You try to catch them up, they done gone. You got to keep what's in front of you. That's why as a judge, you have to keep the peripheral vision. But it's so difficult to keep a track of off the shoulder dances, much less you guys who blowing past you.
Right. And that's why I always advise dancers when they talk to me about Bay Street or they complain about not hitting the board or not winning or whatever. I say, listen, at the end of the day, it's still only 6 persons' opinion if you look good or dance well. So you winning on Bay Street or not winning on Bay Street does not define you. You know, your objective should be go on Bay Street, have fun, contribute to the group, and try to be remembered. And that's what's key about us. Everybody remembers us, whether we won, whether we got 10th, whether we went home after the second lap, whether it rained, it don't matter. People will always remember us for what we did. And I think that's what's most important.
Yeah, because I feel like all of you, that's why all of you really deserve and earn those kings and queens title, because for number one, your costumes are always vibrant. Number two, they're always out of the box. When I say out of the box, it's different, totally different. It's original. The visual impact is always above and beyond. And then all of you seems to have a particular style of dancing. I always tell Tavi, I don't even have to know what because he got that 1-2 move. I know he laughed at me the last time I tell him that he didn't know I was watching that closely. But I have if I don't know, I always watch your feet. And being in charge of the judges, that's one of the things I always tell them. If you want to tell how somebody performs, you bend, and you could see everything they're doing from their feet straight up to their face. And so I began to, even John, I began to look at your feet. So when I bend, sometimes I be looking to see where you is, and once I see that foot moving and I look up, I know that's the person. So I just have little techniques that I learned over the years with judging people and then trying to recognize where people are on the parade, because sometimes you guys has changed position on me.
Yeah, you get lost. Well, it depends on where they place you.
Yeah, well, I sometimes most of you have the same spot, but when you're moving around, you know, most of the times y'all don't realize most of the times you guys have the same spot, right?
Depending on what we have. Yeah, depending on what we have.
It depends on the theme too sometimes, because if they're trying to tell a story from beginning to end, depending on what your role is in that play, you're placed according to that as well.
Yeah, and then you also have to know your costume, because especially if you do a very innovative costume, you want to be seen. You want the judges to have enough time, and you want space. So you might not necessarily want to be way in the back, in front of the brass, where you know there's a lot of clamor and stuff like that. You want to kind of be more ahead and stuff like that. There've been times when I've been in front of the banner. Awful experience, but you know, it's just something that you have to do. you know.
Yeah.
Johnny, I remember
Um,
what you had with the I think it was a clown on your head. It was something dancing off your head.
That
You
was
remember?
that was China morning. I
Johnny?
did
Yeah.
Chinese
yeah.
acrobats.
Chinese acrobats. Yeah, I remember that. Let me ask you a quick question. I mean, you all have participated in the summer festival, and they call the king and queen. Do you think that's a good idea for a Boxing Day and a New Year's Day parade to add that as a category, or would that just add turmoil to what we already have a tumultuous situation as it is now, or would that necessarily have to replace the free dancer and the naked dancer?
Pressure, you want to take that?
Boy,
Okay, but I think when you think about it in terms of the king and queen, because the system would have to be in place where they're able to judge it fairly, and it's always going to be a controversy with that because many times, like you said, you leave Bay Street and you don't think that the person who deserved to win free dance actually wins. So I remember one morning, I think that would have been Bob Marley morning, and I would have still been with the Valley. But Rita, to me, I don't think Rita won free dance. She may have came second. I don't think she may have won. But when I saw her costume and I saw the character she was depicting and her actions and her movements, I thought right then, Rita win free dance.
Yeah.
Now that morning I placed third in free dance, but I just knew at the end of the day, I don't care how hard I had danced, this woman looked good. And
Yeah.
you couldn't take that away from her. But I don't think she won. So when you try and think about putting a category to say king and queen, it has to be where once again they place a number on you and you know those persons are in that competition vying for king and queen. And that means you decide that within your group that listen, you're going for king and queen, and these are the costumes and these are the persons who are going to be representing us. So it's not all over the place. And judges know who they're judging. Other than that, I don't think the right person will ever win king and queen. They would have to be exceptional, like really out of the box, in order to win that hands down, and it's no controversy.
So we basically saying that now the judging system is trash.
Yes.
If the
From
present
Florida.
system we have in place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still out now.
Yeah.
There's no hiding behind that. And every aspect of it is bad. I mean, the amount of judges is bad. Um,
The
the
girls are getting
system is
bad,
bad.
getting
The
bad.
counting and is bad. Everything about it is bad, and it's not necessarily. We're not trying to fault anybody for that, but the system that we have in place now is just not good. And as Precious said, the only way that king and queen could work is if you identify, the same way you do summer festival, identify who's going for that prize. And if they can't get, and if they have issues now with the categories they have now, imagine, adding more or adding a different dynamic to that, so I don't, it's either you cut down the amount of persons that are allowed to have numbers to participate, or you increase the amount of judges to cover the amount of persons participating. You can't have 25 people per group being for going for free dancer and only have 6 judges. And that's 6 judges. That's I think that's only 3 on Bay Street and 3 on Shirley, if I'm not mistaken. So that doesn't make any sense. That's 25 per group, and you have 7 groups, and you definitely will not see everybody. So it's totally unfair. That's why I always tell. That's another reason I tell dancers, while you hide your face, sometimes don't hide it. People like us can hide our face because they know us. Like Van said, they know our movements. I know Davio and Justin and Pressure can hide their face. Shakara can hide her face all they want. I know who they are in 5 seconds, and that's what's key. But the regular person who trying to be seen and all that sort of thing, I don't think they should hide their face.
For instance, a novice judge wouldn't recognize any of you guys.
No.
Just
No.
throw that out there. John, you made 2 suggestions just now. What would you suggest that we can do? Because I'm a firm believer that now that we're in this lockdown period or we have a year off, that we could actually analyze, take a look at Junkanoo and see how ways we could fix it. But I may be just a little crazy me and be the only person in that category because everybody else talking about other things other than trying to make what we have better. They trying to recreate the wheel by ritual. But, I mean,
I
let's fix what we have. What,
yeah,
what would you suggest? I'm asking each one of you guys to give your opinion. What would you do to make Junkanoo better today?
that's a long.
Repeat the question, Papa.
That's a
What
long
would
answer.
you do, what would you do to make Junkanoo better today? Now that we have a year off, what would you do differently? If you had control or you had let's say you had manipulation over the Junkanoo parade, what would you do differently or what would you suggest we do differently is the question.
I think more money needs to be invested in Junkanoo from the government's standpoint. More funds needs to be pumped into Junkanoo. I also feel like even in terms of the judges, just like the same way they have the little crash course and teaching people how to judge, they can bring in persons that specialize in music or specialize in art or specialize in dance. They can bring persons from different colleges around the world or wherever, and they can come as judges and they can do the same thing that with them, what they do with our Bahamian people. The thing with those persons when they come, they're going to be very neutral because we don't have Saxons Valley, one family or whoever coming. Those persons don't know Junkanoo. They don't know anything. They just know art, dance, music. I feel like it needs to be more than a couple dollars what they give the groups for seed money. It really needs to be more than that. And it was disappointing when they invested so much money in the Junkanoo Carnival thing, whatever that is. I never participated in it because I was hurt to see the amount of money that they put into Carnival, and that is not our culture. So that's the first thing. If we could get more funding, then we'll be able to take Junkanoo all over the world. This right here is like a multi-million-dollar business. Junkanoo could be an industry. That's like a year-round thing. People have jobs year-round. Right now, a lot of people suffering because they ain't paid nothing yet. It needs funding.
But why would you say, Shakira, the government has to? What about Junkanooers themselves? That's my major question. We like to say the government, but I think if we come together as a better entity and have a better board of Junkanoo,
That's
even
true
though,
also. Yeah. But I mean, the type of money I'm talking about, I don't know if even if we come together, I'm not sure if we're going to come up with that type of funding. But I mean, if everyone could get together on one accord, unity is key. It might make a difference, but of course you have people hating within the same group, hating other people in other groups. So we don't know if we're gonna ever cross that bridge.
And
that's the major problem right there. That's the major problem we have there because we have persons who are willing and who have been willing to invest a lot of money into Junkanoo, but we tend to lean so much more towards the tribalism. And I'm so happy to hear tonight that most of you here, all of you here actually, you actually thrive of one another. You act more like a unit and friends watching for one another like the rest of the Junkanoo world. If we could get all of the groups to really, form that kind of unity with one another, I think we'll begin moving in a different direction. But it's so much tribalism going, or this one got to beat the next one, or this one always got to be seen, or it's just so much of that. And the more we try to talk about or show, Pop and I show ways of us moving away from it, the more people seem to, who those only live off of Junkanoo seem to want to always have it as a tribalism, or who look better, this one or better than the next one, or some.
Shaman, you have to get to the fundamentals. What is the reason some people rush? Some people rush and they don't even know why they rush in. So
but some people don't even know what a Junkanoo is.
Some people it's like when you just come in because you're gonna be pretty and you can dance and shake up or whatever, and you just watching what the other girls in the group do. You want to outshine somebody else. That's not really a good reason to be on Bay Street.
Well, I've always said that the problem with Junkanoo is that it's full of Junkanooers. That's always been the problem. And Shakara touched on it funding is definitely a major factor for Junkanoo. Funding for the parade, funding for the prizes. We already spoke about having a better judging system. We already spoke about having more categories to be judged. It's simple things that can make Junkanoo better, you know. There's no way if we know that the costumes are required to have some form of pasting or majority pasting, if it miss and has a spry or mist on Bay Street, Junkanoo is ruined. So in all of these years, I have yet to see a rain delay kind of area. Why don't we have like these gigantic tents or just tops that costumes could get under in the event that it may rain? Simple things like that. Elizabeth Avenue, I've given the idea to many persons before, even private entities, to have parts of Elizabeth Avenue turned into some sort of, I wouldn't say a spa, but like a recovery zone where not only are you getting Gatorade, but you might have a nurse there. You might be able to get a quick rub, some pills, something. And, you know, I approached the sponsor about that before. And, you know, they told me BTC owns the parade. BTC owns the street, so they can't do it. Now, we can leave that right there. But I'm only telling you what I was told. You know, so simple things like that. Junkanooers are not appreciated for the amount of money, the amount of time, the amount of sacrifice that we make. Now, we could be at fault for that as well because we really show ourselves to be at each other all the time. But at the end of the day, we losing a lot. We losing a lot of family time. I mean, my goodness, we don't have no Christmas season. We don't have Christmas Eve. We don't have Christmas Day. We don't have Boxing Day. We don't have New Year's Eve. We don't have New Year's Day. That's 5 crucial days: family time, go out time, social time, whatever. And it's not appreciated. And people think that, okay, Junkanoo today, clip our fingers and we on Bay Street. It don't happen that way at all. Pressure can tell you it takes months, it takes time. David can tell you the amount of time he invests doing what he has to do. Justin in Chicago can tell you the same thing. It's a huge sacrifice.
You didn't mention the amount of money.
I thought that was obvious.
No, for some people you gotta let them know the amount of money is invested as well.
For people to this day, I've been physically Russian for, might as well say 20 years now, or just a little under. And I've yet to tell someone what I spent on a costume. I will never tell someone what I spent on a costume, ever. They look at me like I'm crazy.
The first thing they can say is you crazy?
Yeah.
What it is, the love of it, the love. And see, a lot of people too don't understand the history of Junkanoo and why. The question was asked the other day when I was doing some reviews. Why do we celebrate Junkanoo? So many persons still don't know the reason why we go down Bay Street, or when we hear that drum beating and we have a different stirring in our soul and all these different things happening, that they still don't know the real reason why we get all of these feelings. Our ancestors came on boats from all around the world, Africa except, was brought here in chains, shackled. Right there, the question I asked the other person that night, what feeling do you get when you reach Bay Street? Right? Now, all of y'all know between George Street and Navy Lion Road, that's Peace Central. I ain't gonna use the other word. That's and then right there, where Pompey Museum is, that is where our ancestors was housed. They were kept there in that building. So most mornings when me doing my behind the scenes now that you know I never get a chance to experience the back and the roads until I started doing the media end of it, because I was always preparing myself to come and judge y'all, or at least preparing my people. So I was so enthused when I started to do the media aspect of it, and I started going in those back roads and, you know, all the activities be happening there. And when I hit Navy Lion Road and them music started pumping in the back there, my head ball now. Every skin, every hair on the back of my head is raised up, because it's just a feeling over you. I said it has to be our ancestral spirits They used to be peeping out there, listening for the drum beat, to have their freedom just to celebrate some kind of life that they remember when they were in Africa or the places that they came from. So, you know, we don't get to appreciate, we don't appreciate, sorry, the real meaning of celebration. Even too, I had spoken to somebody and we talked about costumes. Every time each one of you put on a different costume, I bet you get a different feeling. Is that correct?
It most certainly is.
You know why? They said every time you shed that costume, that's a spirit you shed from that particular costume. You won't be that particular costume anymore. So from costume to costume to costume, there's a spirit that travels from you from one costume to the next to the next. And y'all know when we get down there, just get when you say you getting in the gate, y'all know how that is feel. I feeling it now, and I even down there. Feeling that
Yeah.
when you.
That's a natural high when you get down there, man. That's a natural high.
But Papa, to add to that question you would ask, I would hope that we use this off time to try to make things better for the future, and moving forward, accepting ideas, trying out stuff, and going from there. You have the time, you have the break, you know. So let's use it.
Yeah, one of the things that someone spoke about, the gentleman from me, Papa, I don't know if you remember, we did Back to the Island. One of the things he talked about is on Boxing Day this year, that everybody should get out their houses that particular time, 12:01, and ring their cowbells or beat their drums. And then I got a call from Michael, you know, the pilot, Michael from the Bahamas, pilot from Roots, and he said, you know, we should at 1 o'clock that morning, everybody just get out in their neighborhoods and start beating their drums and ringing their horns, and we sing, we play some of the gospel songs, you know, City of Gold. Y'all know how to the sound, and every Junkanoo hear that. That's a different era altogether. Just lose our minds when we hear those songs. So he said, you know, get out at 1 o'clock in the morning and do it, and then take a break and come back at 3 and do it again. And then the next morning at 6. So we should act like we having a whole parade ourselves in the front of our house. Now I live all the way in Curl Harbor, you know, ain't too much jungle there.
They think you crazy.
Yeah, I just to be crazy because you know what I do? In the music on. I just can put a speaker outside and I can be playing Junkanoo music straight through. Too bad. The days come, they know this is Junkanoo house.
And that's a good, you could do that, yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. I'm gonna call 3 Junkanoo names, and I just want you to just give me your impression of what you think of these individuals. Boyer, or Boyo, or Boyer, for those who remember him and know him.
Legend.
The best free dancer in the world.
Legend.
Energy god.
The smoothest.
He was an energy
Smoothest
god.
dance move ever. The smoothest move ever.
Smoothest.
Okay. What's the girl's name? Muffin.
Oh, legend.
Well,
Come with it now.
The greatest ever.
Very creative. Very creative. Out of the box. Totally out.
I told
Oh,
Muffin, give you all this joke with Muffin, Papa. I tell Muffin I was disappointed the year when she had on that dress when one family did video games. Video games? I think it was when she was
Princess Peach video games. I think you're talking about nursery
Mario.
rhymes.
yeah,
From Mario.
I'd say Muffin. When I saw Muffin, I say, Muffin, man, I was disappointed, man. I said, I was waiting for you to come and slap my head off like I used to every morning. I was just be anticipating what you coming back.
Expectations was just too high.
Yeah, it was too high. She said, Charmaine, they say that's who you win, or the woman you get when you win the game. They debated over her particular costume, so she just had to wear that. That was in you. That just was in you. I say, because just looking for something stupid, man. You know, everybody's be okay. You know, Muffin coming up. Even that Mother Goose was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Von, if you know gaming, you know who she was, you know who is she depicting, and you know how deep that costume was. Muffin was trying to tell you that game's already win, and that's who you
Yeah.
get at the end. That's
Game over.
game over. That's what she's trying to tell you.
I still think it could have been done more original, because Muffin is she's a designer. So I think if she'd have put a twist on that, they still wouldn't know who that was.
Yeah, but simplicity is always key to me in Junkanoo too.
Simplicity is sometimes, yeah, if you try and put everything, even though it's Junkanoo, and if you try put Junkanoo on everything, that could be a hit and miss. I remember with the girls' costume for Boxing Day, the katana and the Chong-Li. And it was debate about, they were too naked, they needed to have feathers on, but Chong-Li and katana didn't need it. Chong-Li is Chong-Li. And once you saw them, you knew exactly who it was. You knew it was Chong-Li. And I applaud those girls. They were awesome. They executed, and it was game over.
I give it to them.
Yeah,
Okay. My final name is Devia.
Yeah, Devia is good too. Devia was Miss Culture Bahamas at one point.
Devia is good.
Devia is
My
silent.
favorite Devia moment was when she was Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Oh, played the role well.
Devia is very good too. She's silently up there in terms of dancers. She used to make a lot of noise, but she don't make a lot of noise anymore. But she's silently still very, very, very good.
Okay, I have one more. I cheat. I have one more. What's the girl's name? Oh, right on tip of my tongue. Roots. That's all I gotta say. Roots. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about.
Jessica.
Yeah, there you go.
Only the queen.
Energy gone. I can say that. Energy gone.
Top five queen.
Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, you can't keep up. You can't keep up. You cannot keep up. Don't try it.
She's an excellent performer, and she's also someone who comes into character when she performs, and when you look forward. I'm sure she has a big fan base. You look forward, and with all of us, some people just come to Bay Street and they look for certain individuals within a group. So even if you move to another group and you go to, somewhere else, they are looking for certain faces. I think that even happens within your group. If certain people don't show up on the parade, the morale of the group tends to drop a little bit, but they're looking for certain people to be there and certain faces. And Jessica is one of them. John is definitely one of them. Allison, one of them. Who else?
When that happened, Destra, that happened to Ken when he went to the Valley Boys.
Really?
They booed him on Bay Street.
Yes.
Oh yes, I remember that.
They didn't want him there. They didn't want to see that. They wanted to see him do that in the Saxons.
Yes.
And immediately he went back to the Saxons.
Yes, he did.
Immediately when he hit Russell Square, they screamed for him. The same people who booed. Same people.
I don't know how people who deeply embedded in their group think they could just go dance up in the front of somebody else's group and people didn't go boo them. Yep. In the front of Saxons. It was a staple. So he ain't going someplace else. I think he for Boxing Day. I think New Year's he was back in front of the Saxon.
He was.
Tavia was a staple.
But I never get booed.
Never get booed because plenty people didn't know who he was. He covered his face up.
Like you say, foot movement, you should be able to pick.
Listen, Fabio, I was looking for you in the front of Saxons. And I keep saying, man, I miss him. I see him. Till I think you said something to me. I said, boy, that's you. You remember that? I said, boy, that's you. Thoughts.
Indeed.
I was completely lost that morning. But I wanted to call some names too, Papa. What about Monique? She used to be with Roots, but she's now with I think Genesis. Remember Monique? She always been free dancer. That year she Tina Turner. Y'all remember that? Monique. Y'all don't know her name.
Pokey.
I think her name is Monique. Her name is Monique.
I think you get in Pokey. We call her Pokey.
Like I tell you one thing, if ain't nobody on this live know her.
Yeah, but
she's a dancer. Like she was a professional dancer. That's what you mean.
And four back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, another name, Stacy.
That's another Saxon staple.
Oh yeah, definitely. Junkanoo Queen. Definitely.
Definitely.
Queen. Because that's somebody you definitely look forward to.
For
And
every
she,
parade.
I mean, she's a legend. No one has as much free dance wins as she does, and no one can ever be able to catch her up. That's for sure. You know, that kind of way, because that's a staple in Saxon, like John said, and that's the queen right there.
Yeah, definitely.
What about Jerry? Does you know
That's,
Jerry?
that's another one. That's another one you can't keep up with. You can't keep up with Jerry.
Jerry and what's the fella from used to be at Valley Music Makers or G Money?
Free money.
But he was running late. I don't know how come he ain't log in yet.
G Money.
Him earlier special. Only one special.
Only one special.
That's the word to sum him up right there.
Special. Yeah.
Now, folks, the question I wanted to ask you guys: how do you prepare yourself for the anticipation of the parade in terms of physically preparing your body to dance those hours? What do you do? Practices? How do you prepare your bodies for those parades?
Well, rest is important, but sometimes that don't happen, right? But usually I try to get a little exercise in for the most part. I take some vitamins. I take extra vitamins like leading up to the parade. I don't do no extra stuff. I don't drink like energy drinks and those type of stuff, just vitamins. If I am wearing a shoulder piece, which is very rare, but if I happen to be wearing a shoulder piece, when I would practice with sandbags, or even while I'm home, I would just walk around with like a small backpack with like a sandbag in it, so I could have a little weight, because I'm not really used to wearing shoulder pieces. I usually dance naked. So that's about it for me. Other than that, I try to get a good night rest at least. But usually Christmas Day, you're in the shop trying to finish up. Junkanoo never finish. You could always put one little stone somewhere. So Christmas Day, you don't even enjoy Christmas Day with your family. Probably eat spaghetti out the can. And then you be getting your makeup due from 5 o'clock and the parade until 1. So really, it ain't much rest.
Well, now that the proper
To be honest, I don't
proper
know.
answer is there. That's the proper answer. I don't do nothing. If I'm not already working out just naturally or stay in shape naturally, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I think that just the love and the passion and the natural reaction that we have to
And
jump
the music.
at Russian
Yeah, the music.
carries us every time. I'll fall out afterwards and go to sleep for about a day and a half, and that's fine. But I don't know. If I see Justin or Tavio or something like that out, our workout might be ordering drinks like this and having a sip.
I just was about to say, before the parade, I normally in the shop like 2 days straight before the parade, running off an hour of sleep. And when you line up, it's just the adrenaline after that that does basically prepare you. That adrenaline just be different.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is, Elizabeth Avenue, the little 5-minute sleep that you catch right there against the wall by CIBC, that's about it. And then you're ready to go again. So that's all I can say about that. That's as much, no exercising going on there. Some people actually exercise and get in shape and stuff like that. You do your little Junkanoo practice, but that's it.
Hold on, Tavia. Say he's workout. Oh, go on, Tavia. Tell us the
Usually,
routine.
I usually would diet and exercise. I would usually diet and exercise, and like a week before the parade, I eat like 2 to 3 bananas a day, because with the banana, it contains the potassium that prevents you from cramping.
Yeah. Now I would say this, Papa. We're not regular Junkanoos, so we could do whatever we need to do. But for someone who's not used to Russian, people think Russian easy now. It ain't easy. It's definitely not easy. So for someone who's like doing it for the first time, we'll give Shakara's advice and Tavio's advice, and with the rest, and making sure you have your energy and potassium and all that sort of thing. But if you're a seasoned Junkanoo, you're usually good to go. And all you got to do is just once you be yourself and you come with your character, by the time the music hits you, you're good to go.
Exactly.
You
When
come
that
to
music
Gatorade,
start,
Good Avenue, and you're good.
when that music start, it's just a whole different level.
Yeah.
People, I don't think most people understand that.
Indeed.
Yeah, I know we tried for years to get Junkanoos insured for the parades itself. That's one of the things I think the JCNP had on the table itself. But I always say you have to try to keep yourself physically and mentally prepared for the parade. And when I say mentally prepared for the scores to be called afterwards, because it's never what you in. But I always say this though: most Junkanoo groups know when they win. When the group then line up, most everybody know who has already won the parade. And that's why I can't understand for the likes of me why we have to have these pre-calling before we have the new wine scores called.
Yeah, man. The reason that has happened is because it takes take too long, man. You gotta wait a whole day before you find out the results. It's in the U.S. election. It shouldn't take that long.
Hey, the U.S. election only taking long because of some mail-in stuff. They would have know who was president from last night, and that's millions of people. And all we doing is adding, subtracting, doing a little bit of percentage here and there, and that's it.
I'm not sure that's a
but-
fair assessment though, if we know as soon as a group lines up who is going to win, because everybody at some point thinks their group looks good until the big boys arrive. You look good by yourself until the big boys arrive. But my whole thing about that is 9 out of 10 times when you hit the board as a free dancer, it's because your group is probably going to win. So free dancers will get 1 through 5 based on the fact that group is going to win. But like a lot of mornings, who deserve, let's be honest, who deserve to win an actual parade wasn't supposed to win. And so if we just think about once we line up our group's supposed to win, it's not usually a fair assessment because we always think our group's supposed to win. Now, you know when you look stink and you mean to do it. A group
But
knows.
that's wrong. What Charmaine was alluding to was the fact that when you go out to the results, you could tell the group who knows who had the momentum going into the parade. I mean, who the results. I mean, there are members out there in droves, and everybody else missing.
And how much time, so whatever, they had to wear diapers when they gone out there afterward.
It don't be that often. It don't be that often. The majority of the time, people just know who win the parade before we get out there.
Yeah, that's because they probably leaked the results.
Yep.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So if they can leak the results at 3 o'clock, why you can't call the results at 3 o'clock?
Well, at the end of the day, I always tell people that again, Junkanoo is an opinionated thing. It's not fact nor fiction. So if 20 people decide that in 2019 one family deserved to win, in 2020 COVID deserved to win, in 2021, Protocol decide to show up to Bay Street, then that's what it is. And then we just got to move on and try to be better.
That's true. So one question I also have to ask is, where do you guys as Queen Kings of Junkanoo, do you have any persons that you mentor? Because you got to pass the baton on. Do you have persons that mentor or look up to you in terms of their next step in Junkanoo?
Most definitely, especially for me being in charge of the Valley front line. There are a lot of persons who come to me for advice or whatever, or I speak to or guide, whether they be new or seasoned people. And the funny thing about it is the new persons or fairly new persons are open with it, but the seasoned persons, they want to keep that kind of thing quiet, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's pride, I don't know what it is, but it's not that serious. But for me, I have people still mentoring me. I look up to my brothers. I look up to my cousin. I watch Pressure. I watch Tavio. I watch Shakara. I watch Justin. I'm learning every step of the way from everybody. And if I can learn from people and they can learn from people, then everybody could learn. So you definitely have to share the talent that God gave us in every aspect with your friends and even your so-called enemies or competitors, and like Tavia could tell you, we sit down and talk about Junkanoo. I see his stuff, he sees my stuff. He tell me, all right, John, I think you should put this color here, or John, what you doing with this? I mean, 2 years ago, I think me and Tavia were buying feathers in the same place. Away, so we feed off each other and we learn from each other, and it's because that's just how it's supposed to be.
Well, see, if like I say, if most Junkanooers would have that same concept, then all could move this thing forward to rest down the tribalism, sorry, and to move forward. Because I hope in one day, we would get back together. I hope when we take the same 2020 year, and I'll be honest, Joel, I don't even think we get ready for next year.
But Sham, I have a question. For all the guys, do you think that people would still go as hard for Junkanoo if it wasn't a competition? Like, let's just say, like how the government gives each group their seed money. Let's just say they increase the seed money and they give everybody whatever.
The same thing.
And they give everybody the same amount of money. There's no prize. They just want a parade. Everyone just go out there and put on a show. Do you think we would still have the amount of persons coming out to participate?
Yes, I think so, because
competition for some people.
The competition is rooted within us. So you have a lot of competition for Labor Day, for Independence Day, August Monday. Summerfest was the same amount of money, and the competition is stiff. Now, will the dancers do it? Maybe scale out just a little bit, but I think the competition will still be there. Because let's take someone like Hulk. Everybody know Hulk from the Valley, Jermaine Allen. Jermaine brings it 120% every year, and Jermaine has never won on Bay Street. Never won on Bay Street. But he will bring 2 costumes absolutely every year.
It's for the love. It's for the love. The thing, I think out of everybody, I probably could speak best on this because I come from groups where we was always the underdogs. We ain't have no bunch of wins under our belt. So Junkanoo for me was because I love Junkanoo. I enjoy participating. So I just want to rush. It wasn't even about winning. Like if it was all about winning, I would go with the group that always win it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Pretty much.
Well, the thing about it is the hardest thing about being a champ is staying a champion. And so if you're that type of person where you are very competitive, you probably would scale back a bit. If they were to take away all the prize money and stuff like that, you probably would scale back. But if you're somebody like myself, me trying to beat my last year costume is my competition. Me trying to beat myself, not looking at someone else in another group to say, well, I come in to beat them or I come in to kill them this morning. It ain't about that. It's about the love and trying to beat what I did the year before and the year before that. So it's within the actual Junkanoo. Sometimes, like you said, if we were to take that money away, it's just the love of it. You have to have a love and a passion for it.
It's just a deep-rooted love because it's so amazing to see a piece of cardboard like a box and what you could actually turn that into. And even like the process is so amazing. All of that, like it's a really exciting process. And you learn so much, especially if you participate in building your own costume and you help decorate or paste your own costume. Over the years, I've learned to do just about everything. I just choose not to do it. But I mean, a Junkanoo costume to me is like one of the most amazing things in the world. Because when you look at that cardboard box, all you see is one brown box. And when I finish, I mean, masterpieces.
Mhm.
So for me, it's like just about the love and what limits I would set for myself every year.
Shakara, are you still a member? What group are you what group are you part of now?
I'm not a part of any group.
Okay.
Junkanoo is very expensive, like we said earlier. So I believe if I can't go 100, I can't go at all. So when you're talking about spending $1,000, and I hardly wear any costume. My costume could go in a garbage bag. So and you spend like $1,000 on that, I mean, $700 on a costume that could fit in a garbage bag. Like, that's a lot of money. So I sat out for a couple of years. I am contemplating getting back whenever we could go back. But at the moment, I am not doing anything. I would only do shows. I was only doing shows like last year.
Okay, talked about the money, right? If we didn't have so much passion for it, we wouldn't have been doing it, because the amount of money I know all of you guys spend, the price even in a quarter
No.
you spend. The price, a quarter of the money you spend. The feathers alone, what Johnny talking about with him and Tommy, them feathers alone, and what the prize money is again? How much the prize money is?
I think freelance is $558.
500. Yeah.
Buy something.
But it's
Because
clearly for
certain places $450.
That's our passion. Just like you have guys who like fast cars, so they would go put an expensive engine in their car or buy an expensive boat or whatever. That's their toy, and that's where they would put their money. Junkanoo for us, that's our passion. That's our toy. That's our playground right there. So we can put our money in that.
Yep.
I don't have
I guess that's
no problem spending money on a costume, but it's
I
just
guess that
that.
explains me and Charmaine then.
Huh?
What?
I guess that explains me and Charmaine then.
The time
Yep.
when that we put it. Let me tell you something. I've been doing Junkanoo from I was 3 years old, and I came from being a marshal, rushing in the Valley back line, going into roots as back the marshal, getting into the judging system, then being in charge, going from that to come to the media end of it. And people just always say, boy, they paying you all kind of big money when you're deputy chairman. Listen, the little stipend they give me couldn't even pay a piece of my phone bill to the money that I spend to keep it the program going itself. That in my car was the judge's course office. My only because where I worked at the time, used to entitle me 1,100,000 Junkanoo people used to be coming to my work every day. Every day. My office was a Junkanoo office. Every day. And so because I love it, and I had to walk away from it a bit, but that didn't take long for me to come back in the media end of it. And it was even worse for me in Papa now, because the time and hours that we put into it, we can't really get paid for it. People can help us to a certain extent, and even if they can help us, Junkanoos have this thing that they need to give you $1, which is wrong. Because we're supposed to help one another as we go. We here in the world now trying to keep Junkanoo going and alive and keeping it out there in the airs of the people. And our Junkanoo, some of them still don't appreciate it. They think, oh, they do, they don't deserve it. Like right now, Papa advertising about with his pictures and stuff. Papa, you could talk to that. But we always need a little help to keep this thing going, because we love it. We just keep doing it. And people look at us as fools. But then we doing it to make sure this, what we love, keep going and being in the ears of people. Because we've been going through a pandemic now for how much months? Couple months now. And we just trying to laughing out there in the forefront.
But the thing is, I don't think anybody that is involved in Junkanoo in any way is receiving a reward equal to what they give, whether it be in the media, whether it be the participants, the organizers, the judges, whatever. Nobody's getting it. I don't even think the persons who are doing shows are even paid to their worth. But this is what we accept, and this is the going fee. If all of the Junkanoo show groups sit down one day and just stop and say, hey, this is what the standard is going to be, and we're raising it, and this is what they have to pay. But the only time that change is going to happen with Junkanoo, unfortunately, and Papa, you hear me say this plenty times, the only time change is going to come is when some people step down, for lack of a better way to say it, just move away. Y'all know what I mean? Just back on the side. Or if Junkanoos decide to say, no, we are not participating until such and such happen. But because of the love, if they say be there at 7 o'clock, we could be there from 5:30. You can be right there.
Crease up.
Crease right up.
Yep. You so right. You so right.
At a Junkanoo Rush, I bought some handbands. We were doing December 5th, it was number picking. And I said, I bought in like about 5,000 handbands. And I said, okay, I was asking these Junkanoo to help support our show by just buying a handband for $1. When I been out there that particular day, we had about 500 people out there. If 10 Junkanoo people buy them handband from me, I name Charmaine Road. So guess what? I get pissed off and I just give them. I say, you know what? Let me just give them out.
Yeah.
Because
Marketing.
I just give them out.
It is what it is, Charmaine. It is what it is. Let me ask just the panel one quick question. Is a person like a Vulla who is he considered a free dancer, or is that a different category altogether?
Oh, he's a free dancer. I didn't number.
But he isn't in the free category. I mean, is he considered a contestant in the free category?
Papa,
I
anybody.
think he just usually have a cloth number.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have a free dancer number, your judge is a free dancer.
Okay. But leaders are technically never considered to be a free dancer then.
If they have a number
If they have a number, okay. Yeah, okay. All right.
Well,
they could be.
Well, my leader is won and placed on the board many times.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, well, that's
I don't
true.
think it matters. I'm sure when Willa back in his day, I'm sure he's to hit the board quite often. So, it's a time, the season for everyone.
Very good free dancer, and I don't know if he's ever hit the board. Fast Eddie. Fast Eddie is a very good free dancer.
And that's
Very
someone who could get into character, boy.
Getting the character. And I always wonder if he hits the board. I don't know if he's hit the board.
I don't even know if he's interested in hitting the board.
But he's a good, if you want, and he reminds me of Boyo. They have that same smooth crossover dance that they do.
Yeah.
That flow. Yeah, they flow.
The same flow.
Yeah.
I've watched them a lot of times, and that's why I have this thing. I watch people. So if I'm a radio talk host, I could describe you on the radio. And I always have this thing when I'm doing that, because I want the person who's listening to me on the other side of the radio to visually put in their minds what I'm saying too. So I tend to watch people to be able to describe them to the T. I know one time when Pressure had on that lime green and peach, and I was coming walking towards her. And I said, Pressure, you remember that morning when you had on the peach and the green? And I came up to you and I was asking you if the little girl, which was you, eh?
Yes. Row your boat. Nursery rhyme morning.
Right. And then I started to watch them and describe what I was doing the live at the particular time. I was live when I was talking to her at the time. But Junkanoo is so fascinating with the visual impact and the spirit of it. There's nothing greater. Like they say, it's better than Bahamas. There's nothing like Junkanoo. You can carry me the soca, you carry me the reggae, but I can tell you one thing: if I in the middle of the ocean and I on my boat and Junkanoo come on, I ain't starting to dance.
But what's the beautiful thing about that, though, Charmaine? Junkanoo could play soca, and Junkanoo could play reggae, and Junkanoo could play popular music.
Yep.
That's the beautiful thing about Junkanoo.
Indeed.
We could do anything. There's no limit on what we could play gospel. And that aspect of Junkanoo, I don't know if we ever can get serious about Junkanoo as a business, or Junkanoo as a viable entity for people to make a living. But Junkanoo is so powerful. Think about that for a second. You just said you could have your soca, you could have your reggae, but you could have all of them in Junkanoo. Junkanoo could play all of them, and then some. And that's the power of Junkanoo, but we just don't know it. I think we have something so powerful in our midst that we just don't know what the potential is because we just thinking too narrowly and just thinking, okay, Bay Street, Boxing Day, New Year's Day. That's my opinion.
No,
I don't think it's that,
we
you know,
know
Papa.
about
Some people have the ideas, but they don't have the backing, they don't have the funding to take it where it needs to go.
no, that as well, and they're not allowed to bring those ideas forward. And
That's
those
true.
ideas will never come to fruition. Yeah, that's just what it is. Like I say, some people just have to go in order for change to happen.
Move out the way.
Pattern, but people just want squeeze and hold it on too long. Some, you know, me, like when I was in charge of the judging system, everybody used to talk about me doing it, but as soon as I ask somebody else or I ask them if they want my position, everybody mouth closed. But they didn't know what it was taking for you to pull off certain things that was going on around there. And I was just not a one-man band. I had a team. And you know, there's no I in team. And I always say, if the chain link breaks, then everything falls apart. But it took a whole lot of persons to make a lot, and it takes a whole lot of us, because Junkanoo would be nothing without you guys here. It would be nothing without you guys. It'd be with Papa. It'd be nothing without the brass. It would be nothing. And so, you know, we still have to be mindful to rest down the tribalism, and let's try to work together as one. But you know what I realized in that, Papa? When I was doing the unsung videos and the unsung interviews, I realized that many people, and men in specifically, they don't have anything else but Junkanoo. You understand when I say that? They don't have else. Some people may not be able to have the high school certificate or the college level certificate or the university certificate, but they are excellent in something in Junkanoo. You understand when I say that?
Mm-hmm. I got
Okay.
you.
It could be just like I met Goatman. Not Goatman, the guy from One Family Pressure, the disabled guy who's PACE. I did an unsung on him. And he's been pacing for years, right through the Gaza Strip. Through Gaza, Shaq. What's his name?
Sally?
What's his name?
Sally? No.
No, he's paced, but he's disabled. Move, but they lift him in the shack to pace. I think his name is Oakman. I can't remember his name. I have to ask Angelique what his name is. But this man, the space lead piece, and he's disabled. And he's sitting in the shack the whole time. And he's just excellent when it comes to pacing. That's all he knows. You have some guys who's ring bells. They might can't have an interview or speak to you properly, but they could ring a bell to pieces. You have some guys, the same thing with drums. They may not be inclined to have high school certificates or university certificates, but nobody could beat them beating the drum.
And that's very true, Fan, because I've always told people that Junkanoo is something that brings all facets of life together, from the top of the ladder to the so-called bottom of the ladder. And it's funny that in society you have certain levels of persons, whether it be jobs or education, at the top, and you have to come to them. And in Junkanoo, those same persons come down to those persons who, according to society, are on the lower end, but in Junkanoo, they're on the high end. And and that gives people a lot of satisfaction, that gives them a lot of pride, and it gives them life, as you said. And so it's definitely something for them to look forward to. It's something for them to make money from. It's something for them to continue pushing and just be proud of, and it's really sad when you think about it, because we're not having it. So it's a loss it's a big loss for a lot of people. Not only those who are participating, it's just for those who look forward to it in ways that we can't even imagine.
His name is Ed Gold. She just told me his name is Ed Gold. and he's do lead piece for one family to the Gaza Strip. And then you have all of the guys from the Saxons that's to the next street over, the old man with his sons, them. They're just sitting pace. You know, that's all they know, that's all they like. You have some people they could do a costume from beginning to end, from cardboard construction, go right on to painting it white, to coloring it, and never been to school to do it. You know, that's just how Junkanoo is. You
Yeah, definitely.
know, and that's serious. And then, like we say about passing the, you know, not all of us is going to be here forever. And as we go through different phases of life, we have to pass on what we know to the persons that we're going to leave behind. Not to say, you know, some people have that mentality, oh, I don't want to show them because they become better than you. As a teacher, you're supposed to train people to become better than you because they're carrying on your legacy and what you teach. They carry on your legacy. You don't have to carry your legacy on yourself. You leave that in place for when you know here persons know that is what you're good for. Like all of you guys here, all of you have a legacy already. So you have to make sure that you have somebody else who's going to carry on that legacy from you. Actually, what you do will make people see what your legacy is because people will try to portray who you guys are. You realize that?
Yep.
People watch young
Speaking
people.
speaking of trade and following, sorry to cut you off, Charmaine. It just come to my mind just now. Do you think I want to ask the panel, the repetitiveness in Junkanoo or the copying of Junkanoo costume Junkanoo. Your thoughts on that? Because I mean, I've seen people copy King John's 3-man or 4-man, whatever you want to call it, the pirate at the time. And the problem I have with somebody reproducing the costume is when they do it and they do it poorly. If you can copy the costume, make it better.
Would better
At
than what
least
you
try
did.
and make it better. But these they duplicate the costume and making it worse.
You know,
Your
Papa,
thought?
you know, sometimes not
If they
everyone is able to afford what John may put into a costume. Another person may not be able to do. And
And
then it
don't touch
comes
it then.
down to
If I try,
Don't.
it comes down to your builder as well. I know it comes down to your builder as well. You know, what you may have
Oh
in your
man.
head and you envision, the person will tell you they could do it, you know. And when you go to the shop, that ain't nothing what you envision. So what do? You either stay home or you carry the costume. So
You know,
unfortunately for some persons, they don't have the money to complete it. The builder could build a nice costume, but if they can't complete it with the right stuff to go with it, the mechanics, the decoration, stuff like that, that costume will never look like John's own, because the money that John put into that costume, you know, coming down towards the end, that's when you spend the most money. Oh, I need one more bead.
Yep.
Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Oh, I gotta go get my makeup. Do I
And you
forget
don't
that?
never
That's
ask the price. You just say need.
$150.
Mhm.
That's
ain't asking no price,
$150.
that's not money.
and
So,
the thing
and you
about
still
that
have
is too
Christmas gifts
pressure.
to buy. So it's crazy.
The thing about that is pressure. What's kind of sad about it. If someone wants to duplicate, if I want to duplicate Tavio's costume and say, okay, I want to come as Ghost Rider, but I want just do it just a little different. Problem with Junkanoo is nobody's gonna ask Tavio how or say, hey Tavio, you mind if I do this? Let's talk to me about this. How you do this? How do you do that? If LeBron could talk to Kobe about about a post game, and Kobe could talk to Jordan about how to take the fade away, why is it I can't go to Tavio and say, Tavio, show me how you do that, a little dip and fling the chain, or you know, or pressure how you do that spin and you still on your toe and then you fall down. I can't do that. You know what I mean? But we don't have. I think the pride
Too much
pride inside us stops us from.
It's definitely the pride.
Yeah, and I think that's something we have to get over. That's something we have to get over, because if he had come to me and asked me how I did that, I would have told him. Now you could go ahead and try to do it. But I can tell you.
Well,
It
what
ain't-
about
it
Yeah,
ain't-
but not everybody is as open as you, John. And that's the same thing with Charmaine talking about now about passing the baton.
Yeah.
Some people think, well, suppose like I remember Holly came as
yeah,
what is it, Ursula. And
yeah.
somebody else came as Ursula as well, and that was the last Ursula. I swear, that was the last Ursula. But I'm just saying it to say, like, oh Lord, no. But I mean, in all honesty, like some people are coming to Holly and saying, "Well, Holly, how did you do this?" Holly would have told her, but is she going to go to Eye Candy afterward and pay $300 to get her body airbrush?
Yeah.
She could have buy a wig off of Amazon. It wasn't that she didn't look like Ursula. It was the completion of the costume, the makeup. The makeup didn't tie in together to look like Ursula, that kind of way. And so that's what you have to think about it. I still think it boils down to money as well. Don't start a costume if it can, that's going to take plenty money. Don't pick it up if you can't handle it.
Yep.
Money and personal pride.
Yeah, personal pride. That's a serious thing. Because, I don't like to degrade people, Tavio, and because I feel like what I could do or what I could take, you can't take, or what you could take, I can't take. So I don't like to belittle people, like I say, because we still call it Junkanoo at the end. You hear what the first word say, junk canoe, but we just perfected. A lot of us just tend to perfect it in areas that some others can't. Even though, we have some people like they say they nasty and they this, then they got on the parade itself, we could say that, but then we don't really know the extent. The person just won't get on the parade to rush.
Charmaine, I have one pet peeve with the Junkanoo costumes. Just don't let me see no brown cardboard. You can paint it white and I'll be fine, but don't let me see no brown cardboard on the street. Under the brim of your hat, under the brim of your shoulder piece. That's my pet peeve with Junkanoo. I don't want to see no brown cardboard, please. That's my only problem I have with Junkanoo. That's a no. There's no excuse for that.
Well, let me tell you what my pet peeve in Junkanoo is. The vulgarism.
Oh, well, you got a big problem then.
I have a problem with a certain dance that the girls is do. The vulgarism.
Soda, water, and juice.
Not that one. It's just a certain move that they just do. That Junkanoo is one step forward, two step forward, back I go.
Like King John said, we evolved from
Show us
that
the
now.
move.
We
Show us
evolved
the
from that.
move, Charmaine.
We evolved from that.
How to move go? Show us.
We evolved from that one step forward, two step back.
But I talking about the girls part. They just take
Me too.
that.
I don't think.
You bet. Hey, if you ain't
talk
joking,
If you're talking about the choreographed girls, fine. If you're talking about choreographed girls, I don't think the choreographed girls are nowhere close to as vulgar as they used to be. I think they're pretty clean. I mean, they still chancing and doing little dips here and there, but I think it's pretty good. I haven't heard an issue with vulgarity and Junkanoo in a little while.
let's hear from Pressure and Shakara, who was part of choreographing one time in their life.
Lord, what a time. Boy, back then, John, you touched that button, John, back then, boy,
Oh.
they just used to call us the jokers. That was it. You just had people, but I mean, in all fairness, like, I think the choreograph competition is so heavy right now, it comes down to who has the best choreography. And so that juking is usually, you don't win with the juking anymore. Those that we have already evolved off that. It comes down to who had the best choreography that morning and whose costume tied into that.
Right.
It had
and makeup.
to tie in and makeup and everything.
Yeah.
And so it's the choreograph section has evolved. Like it was always about choreographing, and there always was big competition. But back then we had costumes what we couldn't, the only time we could have joked was underneath the bridge. the costumes that the girls wear now is nothing compared to what the girls wore back then, which were pretty much off the shoulders. So it ain't no joking going on in them costume. Once everybody's hand movement, foot movement, and turns were the same, you won choreography. If your group was good that morning, you won choreography. Now the one morning Valley girls came with Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. I think that was sports morning. And we won, yeah, we won choreography with that.
That was Roots Girls?
I think people thought that was the
No,
most vulgar
Valley
thing.
did it first.
Valley did it first. I think they thought that was probably the most vulgar thing ever. You know, that kind of way. But I mean, just look how choreography has evolved since then. I don't even see it as vulgar. I see it as an art. We have so many good choreographers out there. I could speak to one, definitely Kiva. The kind of work that they are doing now, it just makes you look forward to come into Bay Street just to see what choreography is bringing out this year. I look forward to it. I want to see what the other groups are bringing, because you have to, in order to stay the champ, it's very hard. You have to stay on top of your game. So I don't know how they doing it back then. We used to do what we was doing, but what they doing now is nothing compared to what we used to do back then.
Because what I did in judging, I said it earlier, I can bend down in the front of you in a choreograph section, and I could tell exactly which person will be off. Because if you're in sync, you could see the hands go up, the smiles on the face, the feet. So I always judge choreograph from the bottom go up. If you standing on the same level as them, you can't see what they foot doing.
No.
But when you bend in the road and you look up, if they're coming towards you, you could tell who in sync, who missed the foot, who missed the turn. You could see all of that from the ground. All of that. And it seems like choreograph is gone from like 60% to 120%, including, like you say, costuming and music, because one family has really enticed me about when they came with those girls. And I think choreographed that to sink back in after Jerry bring that choreograph the summer festival that year. Remember with the girls, with the fans. That was a couple of years ago. You remember that?
Yeah, but even before that, you remember one family girls brought the Rake and Scrape Festival. So they had some of the girls dancing as men and as boys. And I thought that was awesome. Right then, I started to look back at choreography, because choreography for me started to get, I wouldn't say boring, but we just started to wear just shirt and tights on a Labor Day, on an Independence. And back then, it was all about costumes back then. Now, choreography is getting back into that again. Whereas on Labor Day, Independence, it's a big competition then as well, even as big as Bay Street. You know, that kind of way. So I love what choreography is doing now. Shouts out to Jerry and all the other choreographers. Toya, I think from Roots. Definitely Kiva from One Family. I'm not sure of everyone else. But they're doing an awesome job.
Myraz.
Awesome.
How we could get our front lines to be like how choreograph is right now.
Say that again, Justin.
How we could get our front lines to be like how choreograph is right now, because I feel like everybody just like, not everybody, but most bystanders come into the road for choreograph, especially One Family and the Valley choreograph.
Well, you gotta understand another thing, Justin, don't forget now the choreograph is 99% female.
You're right. You're right.
You know, we coming to see them.
But I talking on competition level, like outside of getting a number, like how we would have had internal group competitions, how to get bystanders involved with front line in that manner, because a lot of bystanders come into the road for choreograph.
You're right. I know that's something we got to look into. That's something we got to look into. Now, you know, front line made up of individuals now. So
you're right.
That's if you got 50 people rushing in the front line, that's 50 different personalities. And,
yep.
And that's not a crew. You know, so it's hard to control 50 individuals versus 25, just a group of 25 people who in sync.
Without it looking like choreography.
Right.
Valley Boys bought, I think, I don't remember which morning, they probably would have been a Christmas morning when they bought the Christmas theme. And I think that was Oh Lord,
Push
but I
paper
can't
with the
remember his name.
readers.
But they came as the rain dance,
Mhm.
and I thought that was awesome. You know, that kind of way. But where do you start to say, is it choreography or is it a frontline thing, or you know, that kind of way? They could possibly be judged because they're moving in sync, but they're actually free dancing. But they have a free dance routine that everybody is doing, depicting their theme. So I thought that was pretty awesome when it came to the front line. But like John said, getting over 100 persons to do that, that won't happen, because when that music hits you, that's something different. You can 4 to 10 be 5, 6, 7, 8. I ain't doing that.
I ain't
5,
doing
6,
it.
7, 8.
I doing it.
No, sir.
I remembered, I don't know, a couple of years ago too, different groups with their front line, like they would have one main character in the front line and several persons around that particular one person. And their costumes were sort of matching, and they didn't have to be dancing or doing the same choreograph, but they still were in sync because of their costumes. I think one did that before too. So they have like one person who would be with Santa, and then a couple of Santa elves dancing around him, close to him. And they would sort of dance off, and then they'll go back in and sync and do the dance, and they'll dance off. So you had a few groups that's doing that also.
Yeah.
So but that works like when a crew, like where just like in One Family too, with the guys with the Angry Birds.
Right.
With
Right.
So you know, you could sort of fit it in like that. Like you have a set of persons who be together and they create a costume rush basically in one area. So it still brings some kind of coordination to the front line.
So let me ask you something, Charmaine. When it came, you touched on Angry Birds. With those costumes, they were awesome. Everyone agreed. So, but when you come as a group like that, the judges, to me, seemed like they picked 2 out of the 10, if it was 10, and they said these 2 are going to hit the board. Why couldn't 1 through 9 hit the board? If it was 9 birds, why couldn't all hit the board if they were that good? I remember one year, the same year, and I think that was when Valley would have brought the Christmas theme. Roots won free dance 1 through 9, or 1 through 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I thought that was impossible. How is it that no other group performed that morning? And like, so that's how you knew right then. It almost seemed so biased. You know, you can imagine, you trying to tell me no other group stood out that morning. Only Roots and their free dancers.
But listen,
So
now you got to remember now, a lot of scores get thrown out. So guess what? It could have been where another person or other groups being scored, but they made an error in somebody else's paper and all their scores get thrown out. Because remember, like in the judging system, if you make a mistake with one group, all your scores gone. You know that, right? So you know, you got to look at it from 2 sides of the fence. Because
Listen to me. Our judging system have too much rules, man.
yeah, that's true.
Bottom
Exactly.
line, Junkanoo is simplicity. You making it too difficult.
Too.
That's right.
And to be fair to the people judging, even though the judging system sucks, and they're not trained long enough or trained properly. To be fair to them, it's really hard to judge Junkanoo because it's like judging a pageant. But if you come out first and you have on a gorgeous dress, you torn between giving that person a 10 out of 10 because you don't know if the other 5 dresses by chance be better than that. So you may have a system where you give them your 10 for them, might be 8, just in case so someone else has something better. So you know you have the ability to go up 1.
Yeah, but then Johnny, see, being a judge, you have to set a mark. You have to set a bar. Your 100 could be my 100 was 75. 75, 100. My lowest mark was 40. So my 100 was 80. So that means if you come out and you look good, I got to start right then setting my bar. You have to set a bar. If you don't set a bar, you give everybody 100 because more come. So if you set your bar as 80, you know at least you could go up, or 75, you could go up, or you could come. So once you have that bar, you know you could float above or float under.
Yeah.
You see? That is, like you say, I don't know if that's being taught anymore. Because you know you have people coming behind, and I don't think it should be a disadvantage from the person who coming out one, from the person who coming out fifth. Now, you know, everybody can call, oh, them said break down in Rawson Square. Y'all know y'all got to do. You know, like be making all kind of calls doing the parade. So, you know, everybody's be watching the next one with their observers to say what's going on. So in that case there, you know, if you come to number 3, break 1 and 2 wasn't carrying on, but y'all better lift y'all game. Or very good, what he then do they first lap and go 3 Elizabeth Avenue. The calls then being made, listen, when y'all come back on that third lap, y'all know y'all didn't do what else, or the group in back y'all didn't do too good, y'all got to up your game. So, you know, that's how it is.
Yeah, I agree.
But see, the thing about it is, you have to be, I took my job as being the deputy chairman with responsibility for the judges very, and I took that job serious enough to know that any decision that I made or any training that I do the persons, their results would cause John to move forward or move backward. I never felt like you should come in there with no skullduggery to say, well, this your uncle, auntie, sister, child. I always tell my family, y'all starting below 0 because that's your family and I giving y'all the rules first. So don't even hail me, don't look at me. That's why they call me Judge Judy. I say you don't look at me and don't hail me. Because I come here to do a job. And I know if you blowing the horn like crap and I giving you 10, I giving you a disadvantage because I ain't trying to better you. I giving it to you for giving it. That don't work. And that's what was happening over and periodically over the years. We have to give people their fair share. And it discourages people, like John say, when you then put all your time and effort in to be judged for 2 minutes or 2 seconds, and they don't recognize half of the people and you then going around, you're missing this one, you're missing that one. So, you know, we have to think about everybody putting special time in to make themselves look good. And I always used to tell them too, I need you to put yourself in that person's place that you're looking at. How would you want me to judge you if you was out there doing that and I was on the other end of the pen? But see, people don't do that. People don't do that. So, you know, that's just how it is. But guys, we have a wonderful discussion this evening. We're going to close pretty soon. So the last question, Papa, you there or you stepped away? Before I ask my last question. This Papa's always come up with the question when we get ready to shut off. But my last question for the night is, where do you see Junkanoo in the next 5 years? I'd not even say 5, next 2 years, say, where do you see it when we say we can get back to Bay now? How do you see Junkanoo moving forward?
I tell you what I'd like to see.
I know you could write a book, John. I know you. Every time you have a book.
You just want to see improvements, man. You know, you just want to see some progression, some improvements. Just any one of the items that any one of us listed: funding, judging, categories, increase of judges, protection for the participants, protection for the costumes. I mean, it's so many things that we can do, but we just have to actually do it. We just have to actually do it. Even reduction of the amount of groups and stuff like that to cut down on the time frame you're out there. All of that is things that we can look at. It's too much things to list.
Definitely prize money, and how we categorize free dances and naked dances, like John said, jumpers and off the shoulders. I always felt that jumpers should have a separate category, even from free dancers. And that's always something I felt should have happened. Along with naked dancers, they have their own separate category. And each group is allowed to give 3 naked dancers or 2 naked dancers a number for their group. And you know for sure, if we were to bring about a king and queen competition, once again, they would be chosen by their group who's going to represent as king and queen, something similar to the summer festival. And then you put that number, but we definitely need more judges, better prize money, definitely, because like we keep saying, the amount of money that we invest into it, even though it's a love, just walking away from the parade with $500, you know, you go upstairs, $500 for the beads. So, or concealer for for glue sticks. So it's just a lot of things that we need done and a better judging system. I'm still gonna say we need a better judging system because many mornings
But
what
listen,
happens, I'm sorry, it can be very discouraging. It's very discouraging to junkanooers. Yes, we do it for the love, but you want to feel after putting in these months being away from your family, eating glitter and your Christmas dinner, you want to feel, that you went out there and you won that prize. Everybody feels like a king and a queen. Like I said, when you line up, you look good until the big boys reach. Everybody's look good by themselves. Everybody is look good by themselves, but telling the big boys reach. But I want to encourage all junkanooers, you know, stay safe. That's very important. We soon be back. And when we back, it's gonna be the greatest show ever. We have time. We sitting back, we laying down, we thinking, we dreaming about what we want our costumes to be if themes have already been picked. So I think in the next 5 years, Junkanoo, because we had this little break, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be a big thing.
Big.
okay, anybody else? Nobody else? Say? Pressure,
They touch on a lot of stuff.
John and Pressure
I
that say everything.
a proper display of costumes. So
I wanted to say this, Pressure. It's good to us to say that we would want more judges and all this thing in place, right? But when you are constantly dragging the one and two that you have, and it discourages a lot of persons from stepping forward. How do you feel that you can encourage more people to come and join the system? Because every year it's the same cry, the judges this, that, and that. How do you think you can encourage people to come and do that?
Well, the good thing about this is, every year I say I'm gonna retire. So I'm ready to go be a judge right now because I know how it is. Like I can honestly relate to going out there and thinking you have the best costume in the world and you get nothing. The more you have a costume you didn't put that much effort into, I think it's high time that more junkanooers who probably sitting out, get into the judging, give back, get into the junkanoo system and get into the judging system. And maybe the parades will be judged a little bit more fairly because, in order you know what you're looking for. And it isn't about so much being biased. We know as junkanooers who probably put a lot of effort in and who didn't. That kind of way, and who should win and who shouldn't. Not just a random person off the street.
I laughing because junkanooers, if junkanooers see a junkanoo like you, Pressure, picture on a judging form, you know what I can
Family
say?
automatically win.
No.
Is she gone? She get taken off the list?
What? Any one of y'all in here, they'll vet y'all before y'all name even. Johnny, you know that. Y'all will get vetted right off the bat.
So why can't each group be able to present 5 judges?
I can tell Johnny, you better go do individual.
Pressure. I gave that suggestion before. Allow each group to submit 10 judges. Yeah, each group submit 10. And let's go from there. Is the scale even? What the problem is?
I heard that before when I was there. That's the same way. So I don't know. I don't know.
They ain't do it.
No.
Exactly. It can't work if they ain't do it.
No.
But at the end of the day, there could always be someone to say that this one is biased or this one is one family or this one is Saxon. You can't get away from it as long as they are Bahamian. Yep. If they are Bahamian, people are going to associate them with a group. So you can't get away with it. So either we find another way or it's going to remain the same.
Well, see, this is it. Like how we talked about Junkanooers like y'all will be excellent judges. You know why? Because y'all believe y'all have a quality of standard that is up here. Your quality and your costume is that, so y'all automatically know what you're looking for. Y'all know you're looking for coloring. Y'all know you're looking for structure. You're looking for performance. Y'all know because these are the things that you guys do yourself.
And not only that, we are not afraid to say that Tavio look better than John,
right?
Or Shakara look better than Pressure.
Right.
It don't matter which group I was affiliated with last or the longest. If another group looked better, then another group looked better.
Yeah,
I
that's
received a lot of criticism because I'm real and I tell members of my group all the time, listen, we were good, but we were not good enough. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Get your job together and let's do better. There's nothing wrong with that. If I can't tell my group members that, then we might as well stop.
Yeah, well, like
They try to put me out of the group.
everybody knows when the other one has won. Sorry, everybody knows when the other one has won. Everybody knows, but it seems like everybody's just fighting and have the tribalism in the front to say that they are the best.
Yeah, but
until we could change our pattern of thinking towards that, we can be going around in the same circle.
we have to work together. It can't be. We have to work together. It have to be all on that. And right now, we don't have the majority to do anything.
Right.
The only thing we have the majority to do is rush.
Well, in that case, then you got to throw out all that money thing and just go down and have a big fun parade. If that's the case, hey.
So they say no competition. Everyone just rush.
That's rush. Like how you see how sweet independence is be.
If everyone just rush, then we don't have no need for judges who can't get it right.
Boy.
Okay, so look like now one family ghetto days be independence. Yes, independence is when they appear with their opening for the year. Even though I think we open from Labor Day. So most of the times, most groups is come forward for Labor Day. And when you see whoever you see step forward and leading up independence, and then you go in Fox Hill. So, just like how we could rush and have fun and competition with them without being all about the money, we could do the same thing for Boxing Day and New Year's Day. Because New Year's Day parade is always be down, like be a downer. Like everybody just be focusing on Boxing Day and don't put the same effort that they put into New Year's.
I think Junkanoo in general has been going through a recession. Mm-hmm. We're seeing some, not necessarily a downgrade, but it's lessened over the last couple of years to me. Even with fans, attendance, everything to me, it's just been a little down. I don't know if it's because of situations or what. I think the break, like Pressure said, I think the break will do everybody well. Give everybody some time to recover mentally, physically. Allow your mind to refresh. And I think whenever we are able to be in the road again, it's going to be spectacular.
Okay. Well, again, folks, I'd like to thank you, kings and queens, for taking time out of your busy COVID-19 time to come on and speak to all different aspects of Junkanoo. I ask all to be safe, because definitely I want to see you guys again. We have to adhere to what's happening if we want to come past this recession that we're in and this slow period time that we're in. And, we want to keep ourselves healthy and keep in mind and about those Junkanoo withdrawals. I don't know who going through it, how much y'all going through it, but I definitely been going through it for a little while now. From June, I was going through withdrawals. It was when it wasn't no Labor Day, when I look Independence come, when I look in Emancipation Day, when I look last week, Youth Sunday, I say, Lord have mercy. But it is what it is. It's better for us to be safe than to be able to rush again, to get any problems. So again, I'd like to thank all of you out. Thank you to Justin and Tavio and Shakira, Pressure, and Johnny. I thank you so much that, like I said, you took the time out of your busy schedule. And it ended up happening in Junkanoo. We have to make sure these kings and queens be recognized.
You
Hello?
understand? You understand?
Bring your, I sat down, I told Papa, I said, boy, I got one show in my mind. And I just decided, he said, who? I said, got it. I said, let me call him. I called Johnny first. I said, what you think? He said, yeah. I said, let's get everybody together. But you know, I invited other groups. Like I said, they couldn't make it tonight. Some who couldn't make it had other issues. And so, you know, it was up to them to force come on. Who doesn't want to come on? So I don't know what happened because we'd have a totally different show if he was on. But anyway, thank you so much. On behalf of my co-host, Mr. Junkanoo Paparazzi, and my co-host, and my producer, Miss Brighton Roll, we at FIE's Junkanoo Rush say, feel it in your belly. We want us to feel it again pretty soon. Good night, everybody.
All right, good night. You guys
Good
be
night.